So there are several reasons that people will always point to Super Mario Bros. 3 as one of the greatest all-time classics in video games. I mean, the easiest ones to point to when you look at it are things like how it told you sort of through the graphics, through the way that they had these world maps, that it was a story that was constantly moving forward.
It's a game that my family, who doesn't play a lot of games, can play with me and still have a lot of fun. To also gamers who have been playing games for all their lives and me can join and just have a blast.
Super Mario Bros. 3 was the first real sequel to Super Mario Bros. That we got to play here in the West, because Super Mario Bros. 2 was a repurposed other game, Doki Doki Panic.
So Super Mario Bros. 3 is exactly what you want to see in a sequel. It takes everything that made the original Mario Bros. So special, and it just blows it up and cranks it all the way up to 11.
So Super Mario Bros. 3 was the first time Miyamoto and his team looked at Super Mario Bros., the game that defined the platforming genre, and built something entirely new from scratch that would hopefully be a worthy sequel to the original. And I think they were able to improve on perfection in virtually every way.
It was the first game I ever played in which you could just explore a level by running around, finding secrets, doing stuff like that, but then you could also just take to the skies, and the levels were so much bigger than you thought they were. Now they seem little, but back then it was like so much to explore every time you entered a level. It was incredible.
Its simple level design is something that is definitely key to what makes the game so great. You see exactly what you need to do, and you can choose to go one route or another depending on how challenging you want to make it for yourself.
You started out in this grass area, you went through the desert, you ended up in the ocean for a little bit. You eventually found a land of giants.
The most unexpected level of all in Super Mario Bros. 3, world I should say, is the giant world. There's giant versions of all the enemies, and all the even question mark blocks are huge, and you have to figure out how to kill all the things that you've been jumping on the entire game that have been, much smaller than you or your size, and now they're 4 times as big as you.
It seems like such a simple idea, but it's so fun just to see something that's unique and familiar in a little bit different way. All the new suits, like the hammer suit, lets you dress up like enemies.
We got to be Frog Mario, which was, sort of not so great on land, but was awesome to use underwater.
There is a Raccoon Suit. It's on the cover of the game. I love it. It's one of my favorite images of Mario. You put it on, you get cute little ears, you get a little tail, Mario wiggles a little bit, and of course, when you run, you can fly. And then there's, of course, the Tanuki Suit, which lets you turn into a stone. I don't get that one.
And we also got to use my personal favorite, Kuribo's shoe, the green boot. This game was just full of imagination, and in every single world and every single level, you never knew what Mario was going to turn into next and what obstacles you were going to be facing.
It's like there was really simply communicated to you that you were on this grand quest to save all of these kingdoms from the Koopalings and then to rescue a princess one more time.
Traditionally in Super Mario games, just the controls, just playing the game is one of the big selling factors, and they added new control features here like the ability to slide down hills. A simple action like that, there's no conflict, there's no problem you're trying to solve, you're just sliding down a hill, and too few games do that. Too few games elicit joy just by you controlling your character.
So the original Mario Brothers definitely had secrets when you could go above level 1, 2 and sort of find the warp zone, and that felt really, really cool. But Mario 3 took those secrets and really cranked it up. It was the first game that I can remember playing as a kid where I just didn't know what to expect and I didn't know what was going to be around the next corner. You could find warp whistles that would let you skip through different levels of the game, and if you managed to find 2 warp whistles, you could skip directly to the final world, and that felt really special. We'd never really seen anything like that in a video game before, and we'd certainly never seen anything like that in a Mario game before. And that influence is still being felt on the Mario franchise.
There's just so much greatness to it, and just so much that you discover the more you play it that you didn't discover it when you were first, when I was a kid at least, or when you're a teenager, and even as an adult, you're finding all these little quirks.
No game I played in my entire life got so much love as Super Mario Bros. 3. Look at this cartridge, it's just completely destroyed by so much love, or maybe a little bit of anger, because Super Mario Bros. 3 could get really hard. There's a big chip in this. But it was such a wonderful game that I don't know anybody that didn't play it that was around and playing Nintendo.
I mean, Nintendo was doing things that were leaps and bounds ahead of some of their competitors. Coming up with these really original ideas and then gracefully walking away from them And that's something that the Mario series to this day is still doing. But it all started, it feels like, right from that pivotal third chapter.
I was 12 years old when Super Mario Bros. 3 came out. It blew my mind then, and it still blows my mind today, 25 years later. And that's why Super Mario Bros. 3 is so special.